I don't know what I look like when I talk about float therapy, but the best way I can describe what I might look like is like maybe a sparkle in my eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you are you're like smiling. Yeah.
I get so excited over it. It's the only thing really that makes me this like excited and happy. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Post Float Clarity podcast. My name is Jamisha. I am the host of this podcast. Very excited to be here with you today and share the experience of float therapy with you all. I have a guest with me today who is the owner and operator of the True Rest in Cedar Park. I'd like to introduce Taryn.
Hello.
And Taryn, I don't think I've ever had to say your last name.
It's Ostendorf.
Ostendorf.
Yes.
That's actually what I was going to say. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, I've said it in my head a bunch of times, but I've never said it out loud. Ostendorf.
Most people say Ostendorf, but it's Ostendorf with a long O, and it's very phonetic.
Okay, very phonetic. So we were just talking about the books we have staged around. I got these at half price books as well. And so I went in the bookstore. I realized that I don't know how to navigate a bookstore. It had been years since I had been in one of those establishments. Mm-hmm. And so I saw like a sign that said like holistic health or something. So I went over there and I was trying to look for John C. Lilly. And then I was like, this is crazy. I'm just going to go to the front desk.
Yep.
And I was like, do you have a database? And he was like, yep. And I was like, I'm just looking for an author, John C. Lilly.
Yeah.
And he was looking it up and he listed these 3 books. So I was like, great, I want them all. And I was like, how much are they? And he was like, this one's $2, this one's $3, this one's $2. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are they normally that cheap? And he's like, we generally go off the price that is on Amazon. Right. And I'm like, these books on Amazon, I had already looked, they're like $20 to $30 dollars.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, like, nobody's coming for these books. Nobody knows about float therapy.
Yeah, I have one John C. Lilly book that I got a while back. I do think I got it off of Amazon, but like the used books Amazon part or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it would be fun to have these staged around. I haven't read any of them yet. I am on page 1 of The Deep Self. I keep it with me at the front desk when I'm in the spa.
Yeah.
And I can't get past page 1.
Yeah.
So there's no other time I'm going to read either. So I don't know if I'm ever going to make it through any of these books, but I hope I do.
Yeah.
Communication Between Man and Dolphin seems interesting.
I've heard of that one too.
But I also have you seem like you can read. I can't read.
Yeah, I can read.
I'm
you seem like you can read. Yeah, I can read. So I sometimes have to read a couple of pages over and over and over again until then once I do that, then I'm good to go for the rest of the book most of the time.
Okay.
But that's just the starting point.
Yes. That's what I'm struggling with.
A few years ago, I actually made it a goal to practice focusing again on reading.
Okay.
Just because I was an avid reader all my life, like book after book after book. And then it kind of got away from that. And then it was hard for me to like get back to focusing on just reading. But anyways, I can read and I do read.
That's good that you can and do. I think that's my struggle. Like I'll read page number 1. And this is the same deal with the, we have a book inside of the spa called
it has a blue cover.
I
know exactly what you're talking. I've read that book and I can't remember the title
by
either.
Glenn and Lee Perry. Floating, nope, I can't remember the name of the book the life of me, but anyway, that
I can
book,
picture it.
I can picture it too. That book, same deal. I'm probably like 20 pages in, and at this point I don't even know what I've read because it's been so long since I've tried, because I just like don't have the time to
for that book I've read specific. I didn't read it in order. I read specific chapters. I think of some of it, or for specific parts of some of it.
I've never heard of somebody doing that, like bouncing around chapter.
On that one I did that. I'm pretty sure that's the book at one point, and we should probably do this again. We bought every float consultant the book personally.
What?
Yeah, that was like as you came on as a float consultant, it was part of your like, intro and like training was providing them with. I'm pretty sure it was that book. So
that book, even though I'm only like really not that far in, like really has changed the way that I operate in the spa.
Yep.
Like 100%.
Other float consultants have said the same thing.
Yeah.
Now we need to know the name of the book. We're talking about this book, but
we're gonna find the name of the book.
Okay.
Glenn and Lee.
Darkness.
Yes.
I was about to say. I think it has.
Thank you.
I should have.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Pat,
I should
we
have
love
said it
you.
a minute ago because I was like, I think it has darkness in the title.
Yeah, and I said floating, so
We would have
were
had
almost
between our two brains. We almost had it
And
together.
I
almost
looked up Glenn Lee Perry float book blue.
Perfect.
Teamwork, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Claude, or Google, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that book, yeah, even though I'm just a few pages in, yeah, especially, I think specifically with the tours that I give and
Yep,
the different details
you
they have
mentioned
in
that
there.
the other day.
Yes, and so that's why, like, I always feel like when I'm giving a tour, like I know I don't take forever, but it's a lot for me to get through because I feel like all the points that I've read in that book are like good points. And I
have a standard tour. I have been giving the exact same tour with the exact same language for 8 straight years.
8 straight years. But they talk about that in the book, is like deviating from that and trying to like, you know, just get out of that.
I should try that.
You know?
Yeah.
Say something a little different.
Yes.
Tell a joke, perhaps.
I could try. I do. I have one joke in my tour. Sometimes people consider it a joke. Many times people do not. But it's about getting salt in your eyes. And don't rub your fingers in your eyeballs. You know, people forget that it's, you know, this is actually, you know, salt water.
Yeah.
And I get some smiles at least, you know, from don't rub your finger in your eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, because with that and why people will think it's so funny is because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
You know, and so I do something similar where like I'm going through, like I'll give my spiel, and then on top of my spiel I'll point to the plaque, and then I'm like bop, 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 bop. And then when it says lay back in the float pod, please do not lay forward, like I say it just like that, and they start dying, and I'm like, I'm not even trying to be funny right now, I'm just talented. Joking, just reading like off the plaque, and they're like, oh yeah, that would oh no, I lied. I say, okay, please lay back in the float pod, do not lay forward. And then I say that won't make for a great experience, which also isn't. I mean, you're laughing, but
so true. But
yeah, it's just true.
It's like it's like being careful about getting salt in your eyes. And then I lead into like that little joke per se is to lead into letting them know that we have fresh water for them. Okay. You know, in case you happen to get salt in your eyes, you know, there's fresh water for you right here. And then you're recommending taking the small little towel and putting it on the ledge just in case you need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have it like I think it just, that tour goes in my sleep. It's just in my brain. Like,
oh yeah, you're giving tours in your sleep.
I could be.
to the sleep paralysis demons who need to float.
Yes. But it is one of my favorite things about working at a float center.
Yeah.
And has always been giving the tour. I don't know why. Really? I love it. It excites me. It's fun. You're talking to people that haven't floated before, so that is such a great experience. So out of, you know, all the things that we do, there's not anything I dislike.
Yeah.
But giving the tour is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Like absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and just kind of reading the room and like kind of matching the energy of the person that's in front of you and kind of guiding them and figuring out where they, when I'm talking about the different parts of the float, where you can sense they might be a little bit nervous and expanding on that, or just figuring out how to make them most comfortable.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And then I love like checking in with them afterwards to see how they feel.
Yeah, when they're like glowing afterwards.
Yes. Yes.
That transition has become like, my favorite thing, because it tends to be the people who are the most nervous, the most anxious, the most like, even in some cases like completely disheveled, who come out on the other side. And there's some folks that come in disheveled, float, and then like if we have a full round of floaters, I might not even recognize it's a completely different person in their aura, and they're like, it's like you're not the same human who just walked through the door an hour ago.
I know.
And so there's been several situations pretty quickly, like when I started working for you, where it was just like, I don't know,
with me
with you that like I just didn't even understand. And I hate like not recognizing a person when they're coming out of the float pod, but it's just like, no, you're completely changed. And even when I like the husbands who come in and they're just like macho and they're like too cool for school and too good for a float tank, and then after they're like talkative and giddy and like it's like, who are you? Like
or emotional, yes. Like they see like a lot of the other day we had this guy came in the day before to check into floating, kind of told us a little bit about his story as he came into the lobby, scheduled a float for him the next day. And one thing I love about kind of the flow that we have at the spa is, if you're giving the tour, you also are most likely the person prepping the rooms. So you are still like probably the first person that sees them come out. And I love even though I'm like prepping the rooms, I still like to ask people like, how do you feel, because I gave them the tour. Anyway, so he had come out and I wasn't sure if he had gotten salt in his eyes or he'd been crying. And he was just like, I think I didn't remember anything you said, like, from the tour, but he said, I might have done some things wrong, I don't know, but he said this exceeded beyond what I would have ever imagined. I have chills right now.
That's crazy.
Like it's just such a magical like thing, seeing people transform like that. And I don't think he expected it either. He was just like, I don't even know what to say right now. I was like, me neither, but I'm excited for you.
And a lot of clients will have that feedback about like, oh yeah, I feel like I did it wrong. It's like you can't really do it wrong. Like especially if it's like working for them and they loved it. It's like,
you didn't do it. I was like, I'm sure you didn't do anything wrong.
If you loved it that much. Is there a story that you have like as just like maybe a life changed that like is at the top of your mind, where you like completely changed somebody's life? Do you have a favorite story or a couple of stories around that?
What besides myself?
You can talk about yourself.
I mean,
100% you can talk about yourself. Let's actually start there.
Yeah, for sure floating has been so like extremely impactful for myself. I've been floating for about 8 years now. Wow. And I actually started as a float consultant before I had ever floated. Which, anyways, I knew about floating for a long time before my first float, probably at least 2 years.
Okay.
I knew about floating. And there was just these kind of little breadcrumbs of things that kept bringing floating back into my life.
I was smiling at breadcrumbs
as a like concept.
Yes.
But I had this idea that I didn't understand that there were places that you can go and do this. I had this idea that it was for certain people that maybe had a float tank in their house or anyways, I actually did dream about what I thought float centers or float places to go float would be, but had never experienced it. So I had all these things kind of conjured up in my mind. I had researched floating through a Crossfitter named Amanda Allen, who is in Australia.
Oh, wow.
But that was really the first person who ever brought floating to my attention, because she was talking about it for some mental and physical recovery type things. And I was like, there's so many things that she's talking about that I feel. And this is why she says she floats. Anyways, but that was 2 years before my first float ever.
Wow.
Yep. Then I happened to go to a gym that had a connection to a float center in Austin, which was Liquid. Again, they were giving out some discounted floats. So it was reintroduced to me again. And it was, then I learned, there are places that you can go and float. I still didn't go. Life was busy, life was lifing. And even though I was like, okay, these two things had been connected, like I now know a little bit more about floating. I now know there's a place to go, but still hadn't gone yet. And then I was looking for a part-time job. I was now at a different gym, and the coach, who is now the owner of that gym, encouraged me to find a way to make just some extra money. He kind of just challenged me. see if you can figure out a way to make, X amount of dollars per month. And so I started looking for a job.
Okay.
Yep. So anyways, long as I might just, be all these dots connect.
Yeah.
But so I was looking through things and it popped up that Liquid in Austin was hiring.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, like all these kind of things had connected. And so I knew the gym that I had been to where they were giving out the discounted floats was actually connected to Liquid.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but then I saw this ad, and long story short, I started working there.
Gotcha.
And that's where I had my first float. Part of like the training was floating for a couple of weeks.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah,
Like
which
daily?
I ended up floating for the rest of my life. After those floats.
Yeah.
But that is where kind of the transformation, a lifelong passion, love, and even need
Yes.
for floating came about.
Yeah.
I was started as a float consultant.
Yeah.
So I could keep talking about it all, but
You can.
Okay.
This is the space to do it.
Yeah.
You have the floor.
Yeah. So I floated. I was trying to think about like how long until like I felt like what people think floating is, like what your brain and your body. It was probably a couple of months that I
Really.
in my mind it's a couple of months. Maybe it wasn't that time frame, but in my mind that's what it was. That's the time frame. I was a little like, just my brain was very hard to shut off, like kind of all over the place. Even my body was not really able to be super still. I would go in, but I kept at it. I was like, I'm going to float X amount of times per week, or every single time that I, come into Liquid, I'm going to float. Until like I figure, like till my brain and my body figures this out. Like I was on a mission to like get my body and brain to figure this out.
Yeah.
So like I would stretch, I would do mobility, I would whatever.
Yeah.
I was just in there doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I figured if I just kept introducing it over and over again to myself, that like the day was just going to come. And so the day did come. I was floating in this tank that was, I'm going to say it was a protocol. Prototype, not a protocol.
Prototype?
A prototype.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. It was called the Orbit.
Okay.
People in the float world probably know about this Orbit. Maybe not. I don't know.
I feel like I've seen it. What does it look like?
It is, well, it's like an egg shape, but it's like an egg.
Okay.
Like, so the thing about, but it's not like as long as say like the Royal Spots, the pods that we have, the Royal Spot pods. And the thing that was cool about this one was that it was automatic. You could press a button and the doors would open and close.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That button didn't always work though.
Okay.
So it was
Prototype.
it was a little tricky. That's why I say it's a prototype. We were kind of I believe we were testing it.
Okay.
And the other thing was that in the other pods that we had, you can only, turn the light on and off. There wasn't like really a lot of music options at the time at this center. So you're mostly floating in silence and then just turning the light on and off like yourself.
Yeah.
This Orbit had a sunset when you started floating. Okay. So it gradually got dark.
Yeah.
And then at the end of your float, it had a sunrise. And so it gradually got light again.
Oh.
And then in this particular pod, there was music options. So all of our other pods were manually controlled. Like we actually had a little switch on the outside of every room that turned the pod on and off.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So the Orbit actually had something that we could control from the computer.
Yeah.
So it was an introduction to all of us that were working there at the time to kind of figuring out how this pod worked. Long story short, that was the magical float. Like this float that I had in the Orbit pod. And I don't know, maybe it was the conditions of the light, or it was just the day and the time that my body and my brain was like, this is what this feels like.
Yeah. And
so it was the first time I felt like I truly, was kind of that in and out of consciousness feeling. I knew what that felt like. I felt rested, relaxed, relieved after that float. And from that day on, like I have been a floater of what, in a sense, like what I feel like floating is for everyone.
Yeah.
But it was a practice. Like I practiced a very long time. I was like, I'm going to I don't know if this is the best way to describe it, but I was like, I'm going to get good at this because I know that like what I hear, especially from this Crossfitter, yes. Who was in Australia, like if it can do this for her, like I want this for myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been life-changing for sure. I think that's the best story that I have is the one about myself.
Yeah.
Because then it led to me feeling very strongly about wanting to provide that same type of feeling for other people.
Yeah.
Which led me then to working at a different center, which was a True Rest.
Okay.
So Liquid and True Rest were like my first two centers. And from then, like owning a center.
Yeah.
So that float in the orbit did it.
Yeah. Did you always know you wanted to own one? Or did you just because for me, I hadn't even started working at the spa yet. I just decided one day that like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to change the world. And I was like, I need to own a float center.
Yeah.
And I was even with just like the research that I've done so far and understanding what that takes to make that happen. It's like I don't know how, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so, did you know, like at that first float, that's what, or
no.
like how did?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I knew at that first float that I wanted to necessarily own a float center, but I knew I just never wanted to leave ever the space that I was in.
Yeah.
And there was just this connection to Liquid, which I still feel like have strong feelings about the place.
Okay.
I don't know. It just, it was also like, I don't know, this is kind of a side note, but our side, whatever. So the Liquid is in what is used to be North Cross Mall in Austin.
Okay.
North Cross Mall and that Burnett Road area was where I grew up.
Okay.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but like that was a space that I spent time as a child in.
Yeah.
But it was not what it is today.
Okay.
So it's just an interesting kind of thing. But anyways, the Liquid, the space, the center, I just felt very connected to.
Yeah.
We had a team of 5 people that totally just supported me, embraced me as a person who had never worked at a float center before.
Okay.
Also, I was definitely older than everybody. So when I started working there, I was probably in my like early 40s.
Okay.
Early 40s ish. And they were not.
Yeah.
They were in their 20s, maybe early 30s, but they were like, and I had a full-time job. I'm as an educator. I was an assistant principal at an elementary school in Round Rock. So I was doing both.
Yeah.
And they just taught me all the things and were so, nice and supportive.
Yeah.
And then, I had that first float there. And I just never wanted to leave that space.
Yeah.
It was like, it was my place. It was for sure my place. But then it did close, unfortunately. And I was like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do next. And I really wasn't looking to work at another float center because I didn't know another float center existed.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was a True Rest that happened to just be like 5 miles down the road, but I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I got off track a little bit, but anyways, that's the, I saw, and again, I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
And I found that they were advertising for a float consultant. And I was like, well, I can do all these things. And I probably, like how many people know how to, test the salinity, measure the H2O2, know how, know what the water level should be, know what the temperature should be, can give a tour in their sleep.
Yeah.
So it's at that point still like I was like just wanting to be a part of the float community and be a part of a float center.
Okay.
So it wasn't until and just to backtrack a little bit, I've always wanted to own a business. I started trying to make businesses, own businesses as early as when I was in the 4th grade.
Okay.
I mean, like I have my very first
Bubblegum?
Yep, I have my very first business plan still, and it was when I was in 6th grade.
Oh my God.
Yep. Yep.
What kind of business was this?
It was a house cleaning business.
Okay.
Yep. I still have it. And yeah. So I tried a lot of different things as a obviously as a kid, things that you can do as a child. And then as an adult, I also tried a few businesses that didn't go the way that I wanted them to, or they just didn't work out, you know? But I think everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And so I've always wanted to own a business. So that's always been in my, purview.
Yeah.
But the float wasn't, owning a float center wasn't until I transitioned to a True Rest and saw a little bit more of the business side of it, or how a float center can financially stay afloat.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I can do this. I feel like I can do this. I have the desire to own a business. Yes. Now I know how impactful floating can be, because I'm not very good, and I think maybe it's true for most people, at talking to people about something, or trying to educate people on something that I totally didn't believe in,
Yeah,
and I think I've told you this story before, but there was one time in my life that I tried to sell makeup just to make some extra money. And I normally don't wear much makeup or any makeup at all. And I didn't do very good at that.
Yeah.
I wasn't passionate about makeup.
Yeah.
But floating, I knew how it had changed my life. And I also was able to see through 2 different float centers, how it changed other people's lives.
Yes.
So once I got to True Rest and saw how the business model worked, I was like, okay, I think this can be a viable thing.
Yeah.
And then at that same place met Tanner, who is, my business partner at True Rest Cedar Park. And we just made it all happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. 'Cause we were talking the other day just about just spa ownership in general, and the difference between somebody who's in it and loves it and wants to help people, and owners who are just capable.
Yeah.
And it's good that they're capable.
Yeah.
But it's definitely different.
Yes.
And the experience that the clients and the guests get
For sure.
in that kind of different ownership style.
Yeah.
Also, what's cool is that in regards to liquid, within the last couple of months, you told me that you had the opportunity to go back to the space.
I did.
Is that correct? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
can you tell me that story again?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I totally can, and I want to.
Okay.
This is how important that center was to me.
Yeah.
I do not want to cry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So, it's for sale. The space has been for sale for a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long. There hasn't been anything to back up anything in that space since liquid. Nothing.
Okay.
The shelving, if you look through the windows, the shelving that the owner manager at the time had built himself, that is all still there. So yeah, nothing had, once liquid left, nothing ever replaced it.
Yeah.
And so I've gone by a couple of times. I'm not typically in that area of town,
Sure.
but I've gone by a couple of times just to kind of check, just to kind of see. It's always still had a for lease sign in it.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, still had a for lease sign in it. Contacted the number on there, and they're like, hey, if you want to, could we just take a look at it?
Yeah.
And the security guard that was there came and opened the door, and I was able to walk back through the space.
That's amazing.
Which just, like I said, there was just something about that place and the people that came through there, and the people that I worked with, and going through there, I'm gonna say last time was so impactful because the entire complex is being demolished.
Yeah, and so this is, I don't want to say funny, but when you told me about this experience, you used the word level. And I didn't know. It's funny because Robert, who we had on last week, he is in that world, right?
Yes.
Of looking at land.
Oh, okay.
And so through the conversation of like, because I don't want to say grilling him.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say Liquid. Like I wanted him, he couldn't remember the name.
Oh,
and
okay.
so I was like we were sitting together and sort of just like he was looking it up, trying to find it. And then we finally came across it and he was like, I think it was this one. And I was like, okay. Because I knew that was the name.
Yeah.
But then when I told him, he was like, oh, they're demolishing. And I was like, that's what level means?
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so do they have has that already been done?
I don't think it's been done yet. I know it's starting to happen because I saw a news report on it recently.
Yeah.
And the news report was about the fact that this was North Cross Mall.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're an I was born in Austin.
Okay.
Never left the area. If you're an Austinite and you've been here for at least 50 years, that's how long I've been here. You will know North Cross Mall.
Yeah.
And it was, in a lot of people's lives, at the time.
Yeah.
And so for that building to leave the area is, I think a lot of people have, not maybe strong feelings about it, but they feel something about, that part of what used to be Austin kind of going away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from what I understand, I think like condos might be being built there.
It's always a condo.
Yeah.
It's always a condo.
I think because there's some next door to the space that were built. And I think that's what the security guard that let us in told us was happening.
It's going to be condo. It's always condos or like a crumble cookies sort of, like it's always, it's like, man, isn't there like a juice land right across the street? Like, do we need another one?
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, that's like 360. So in total number of years, do you know how long that Liquid was a business?
I don't know for sure. A few. I mean, less than 5.
Less than 5. Okay.
I think for sure. I'm pretty confident about that. But yeah.
And then the people that you worked with there, are they still in the float industry, working at other places, or?
I don't think they are.
Okay.
So, a guy named Kieran was here from out of country.
Okay.
For a period of time, just here in the United States and working. And then Tiffany. I know Tiffany, she's still in the area. And then a guy named David, I think he might still be in the area. He was an actor or doing acting.
Okay.
Yeah. Tiffany teaches pole lessons.
Okay.
Yep. And then we had a girl named Lauren. And then me.
Okay.
That was it. Yeah. Karen, Tiffany, David, Lauren, and me.
Yeah. That's an actor and pole lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very unique group
and then
of
me,
people.
I was the teacher.
Yeah, you're the teacher.
The mom, teacher. And they're like, you're the mom. I'm like, yes, I'm the mom and the educator and working here on the weekends.
Oh my gosh. Haven't any
And then
of them...
Sean was the owner.
Okay.
And then his partner, Jess, she was there a little more often. She's the one that hired me.
Okay.
And I don't think either one of them are in the float industry any longer.
Really?
Yeah, she did a lot with horse therapy. And I know that she's continued that, and I don't know what Sean's doing.
Okay.
But
do you find that a lot, that people are like in it and then maybe figure out that it's not the right fit for them?
I have seen it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. At other centers.
Yeah.
It's if people think going into it, it's like, is easy. It's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
But it's so rewarding that it's not like work.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but it does, it's a lot of, it's a commitment and a dedication to the people that you're serving.
Yeah.
And, that takes time. So I don't, that's not why Liquid closed.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Liquid, like my experience with Liquid and that little group of people and them taking a chance on a person that had never floated before. And they were like, when Jess hired me, she was like, we have hired other people that have full-time jobs.
Okay.
And they all tell us like, yes, I can work 7 days a week. And then when it comes down to it, like, they're like, this was more than I can't do 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And then she also said, like, we're specifically hiring for a Sunday night closer, which I had to be, at school at 6:30 in the morning on Monday morning. And we were open later. Our last float, I feel like the last float ended like 11 or 11:30.
Yeah.
So I knew I wasn't going to be out of there till like midnight. And then I lived an hour away from, right outside of Austin, but it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get home. So I was like, I'm going to be getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning and turning around and going, to school. But I was like, I'm in. Like, I can do this. And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, once I say I can do something, like, I can and I will.
Yeah.
I think the longest that I worked without a day off was probably somewhere between 75 and 90 days.
That's insane.
Yep.
Oh
yep.
my gosh.
But again, like, I was getting something from the center as well. Like, I was, providing a service to people that were coming through, but I was also gaining from the space and from the people. Like, it provided like an energy for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do know.
I did it.
Yeah. I couldn't have done that. And that was the position I was in when I first started working with you. Like, I was and there was a deadline on it. Like, it was going to be like 6 to 7 weeks where I was just going to be working.
I remember that.
An insane amount of hours.
Yep.
And in combination with the work that I was doing full time and the spa, I was going through some things at work that I could have made it through, but I ended up choosing.
Yeah.
And I chose the spa, which was an insane decision to make at the time.
Yep.
And the best decision I've ever made in my life.
I remember the day you sent me, I think it was a text, and you were like,
oh God.
Yep. You were like, this isn't the exact wording, but the gist of it was like, whatever you need, like, you can put me for whatever schedule, like, I'm yours. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, what led you to, that.
Yeah.
Or, like, what had been going on with your other job. But, yeah.
And I'm just, like, one of those, and you've come to find out, like, I'm just one of those people who, just, like, if people are not being treated well, like, I'm not even going to stand up for myself. I'm going to stand up, which is also a problem. But, all of those people like, just kind of lead by example. How people are supposed to be treated. Just like very low tolerance with that stuff. But I could have made it through, and I just had this feeling. I woke up one morning and I was laying in bed and I physically could not go to work. And I was just like, I can't continue to do this. And if I continued to do this, I knew that it would mean my work at the spa would suffer, and I had a zero tolerance policy for that. Like, there was just no way I was going to let that go. So like, just making that blind decision was tough. Well, no, actually the decision was quite easy. I made it in a matter of like a half hour. And then what I was supposed to do was send an email. I had an email drafted. Okay. I fell asleep while I was typing the email.
Oh, no.
I woke up after like my shift had already started, and I just had this draft of an email, a very polite, like very professional way to tell people like I'm not coming back.
Yes.
And they knew about my work at the spa and just sort of my desire to change lives. And that's what the email kind of resembled. And I'm like, you know what, this is probably one of the best emails anyone's ever gotten about like, hey, I'm not returning. But not something that I had ever done before, is just like not gone back, but like I, in my heart and my soul and my body, I was just like, I physically cannot go. And I need to be at the spa, and I need to save lives. And honestly, like that the first I think membership I sold, which it's the same feeling every time, like the feeling and the joy and the excitement of like assisting somebody with changing their life. Like it's the same every time we get a new member on board. And I was just like, that feeling, there's no comparison. I've never felt the feelings that like I've had in the last like 4 or 5 months that I've been working with you.
I know.
Like,
isn't it just
crazy? And just like waking up with excitement. And then on the opposite, like I can be very serious about, like, I'm very serious about making sure that everybody's supposed to be, you know, getting what they need. So yeah, I don't, this, there's a combination of like breadcrumbs for me, and then all of a sudden a brick wall. And the brick wall was like leaving my full-time job, where it was just, it hit me like a brick wall. Like I gotta go. But then the breadcrumbs were for me, in a shorter time frame, but over the course of like maybe a year, like 8 months, where there is a woman in some of our promotional material that resemble me, and very often, especially with this particular individual, will people ask, like, if I'm the lady on the TV. So we have a TV, a black woman's floating, looks very much like me. It's not me, but it's funny. So clients will say stuff a lot of times, be like, "Oh, is that you?" And then I think we had her on an A-frame outside.
We did,
and I did not know. I had no idea what was coming until because, like, to me, I'm like, she looks like a totally different person. But then just client after client, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so before all of that, somebody in December of 2024 sent me some promo material asking if I was the woman in the video.
Wow.
That was the first. I had no idea what floating was. I didn't even know what it was from watching that video. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Wow.
Why'd you send this to me? I wasn't like offended or anything, but I was like, this is just some girl laying in what?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. December of 2024, out of nowhere. Well, somebody who, this individual is, his name is Jesus Josh. He, at the time, was a member at Kuya. So he was a member at Kuya, which I knew, but like I still didn't know about float tanks. But clearly he did. And that's why he got the marketing, and he sent that to me, and I just remember being like, I don't really know what this is. And then again, like, it would have been 6 months later, June of 2025, almost a year ago, started going to therapy. And she was talking to me about contrast therapy. Switching between hot and cold. I have there's several things I have going on that she thinks that contrast therapy will help with. My issue is that I'm never hydrated. And,
we're working on that. We're working on that.
I'm struggling right now. I've been doing a pretty good job the last week, but
you have been.
That is,
I've been observing your water intake.
It's not been good. But if I'm gonna do that, I just need to take better care of myself, and I'm aware of that. I just have a hard time. Even drinking water, like if it's in front of me, I have 2 bottles and I've drank almost none of it. I just have a hard time. But that's what we were talking about first. And so I was just like looking it up. And then I came across float therapy, and I was like, what's that? And as I'm reading it, like the same feeling I have after I float is the feeling I had when I was reading float therapy. I just knew. Like I've never been so sure. Like I'm so like, I can be so unsure of things sometimes, and like it's really hard for me to really make a concrete decision. And I've read through, and I just knew.
That's how I felt too. That's when I, not connected in real life, but with this person that Crossfitter that was floating. I was like, I just feel like I know what the feeling might be, should be, could be. It was 5 years, like almost 5 years later though. It was a 5-year journey, but like all the dots finally connected and got me, into a float tank.
And it's amazing, like just even the amount of like confidence I have around it, and how like certain I am about certain things. Like even though I'm still I would consider like still new and still learning, like just like I've never been so sure of anything in my life. Never. So yeah, I was reading about it, and at that specific time I've been doing comedy for 4.5 years.
Okay.
Year 3, I just didn't really perform. I wasn't capable of leaving my house at all unless it was to go to work.
Okay.
And there was a time where I was at my full-time job. There was a period of 3 months where I actually like couldn't leave my home, which never had happened before.
Yeah.
I've always like lived on my own. I've always like taken care of myself. So to be in a position where I was mentally not capable of doing that was terrifying.
Yeah.
And so it started by like me just started like going to the movies. I was like, let me leave. I can be down the road and I can still be like me. I just wanted to like be left alone. And I like didn't want to be bothered by people. Like I just didn't. And so I found out a couple of things through that. Like I had a severe vitamin D deficiency. Like really bad. And so through those 3 months, I was on an excessive amount of vitamin D weekly that was prescribed, and that helps significantly, as well as therapy, but then finding floating. So it really served me well. So yeah, I was going to the movies, and then I went into a true rest, and like I just was sure, and I bought an unlimited membership, and I didn't have $300 just lying around. Like that was an insane decision for me to make, and the thought in my head was like, you need to invest in this. And it was very clear that I needed to invest in this. And so that's what I did, and I floated almost every single day. And I just like, you can just put me in there and leave me in there. Like I love it. This week it's been interesting. Like I've been emotional after my float. Like you never know what floating's gonna do to you.
You never know. I
know.
You
have no idea. I had like the best float the other day, and I did a 2.5 hour float. It was great. Chatted in the lobby with one of our coworkers. And then, like, I went home and I was, like, sobbing. I was like, I was in a great mood a half hour ago. Like, what? But there was, like, this release of emotion. It
brings up a lot of things. I
was like, where did this come from? And one of the things, I was like, I'm quitting comedy. And I texted my friend, and he's like, too bad, too late. You're married to this. Get over it. And he never speaks to me like that. And he was very aware that, like, clearly I wasn't maybe in the right state of mind. But because I did make the decision that, like I moved down here for comedy. So to make the decision that comedy is not at the forefront is a very tough decision for me. But the work I'm doing in the float world is like so meaningful. But then the combination of the two, which I've gotten to combine both of them, is like,
you never know where life is going to lead you.
You never know.
I had been was in education for 30 years. And at the end of, not this past summer, but the summer before, so about a year ago, I transitioned out of education. And the float spa was a big part of that. It allowed me to retire when I was eligible. And so do the spa, support people at the spa full time. As opposed to like doing both I love but so I quit my job too, sort of, but like from 2020 to 2025 there was kind of this plan that as soon as I was eligible to kind of see where the spa led me, and it was perfect. It all worked out in perfect timing, as far as transitioning to my full attention on the spa.
I can't wait until there's more of them around.
I know.
There's only a few here in Central Texas. And that was the thing. I had a hard time with that when I was first researching it. I was like, you can only do this at like 2 places around town. I just happened to be working across the street from a True Rest. And so literally I would get off at work most days at 4:00. There was a 4:15 float. I'd hop across the street, get some Juice Land after, and then like go to bed. And that was like my regimen for quite some time.
I had a similar one when I was working there. I would work Saturday and Sunday, the AM shift.
Yeah.
Like it would end at 3:30 or 4. I would do my float at 4, get some Juice Land, and then I would drive home. Go to bed.
That's like the thing to do. Like if you have a Juice Land by your float spa, is like get Juice Land after a float.
It goes, somehow goes together.
Do you think, I bet you Juice Land has something up their sleeve. I think they know. I think Juice Land knows about floating.
They might.
They've got
because there's a Juice Land right across the street from True Cedar Park too.
There is, and very close to the one in South.
Yes,
very close.
Yeah,
and I've gone there.
Interesting connection there.
I think Juice Land's got something up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I about to say? Juice Land. Across the street. Blah blah blah. Oh yes, and then I started going to the Ocean Lab, and so that was the first change in equipment that like I had ever seen. So I went from a royal style pod to a float cabin. Is that they call them cabins? And so that was interesting. And then I learned two people can be in a cabin and float, which is my worst nightmare. I would never.
At some places, yeah, doesn't. In my mind, that doesn't feel great to me or relaxing at all. At all. But I prior to floating, I already knew like I kind of like small spaces.
Yes,
like small spaces, compact spaces feel good to me.
Yeah.
Hadn't been in a float tank before, but it was another reason I was like, I just feel like this would also be something that I would like.
Yeah.
And I do. I like being enclosed in a pod.
Okay.
Like I really like that feeling.
Yeah.
I floated in float cabins as well. And it's just not that I just feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But being in the pod, I just feel nice and cozy and safe, and just feels, there's something about it that feels great to me.
Yeah.
So
100%.
along with the salt water and the float, the actual tank itself does something for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, the ones we have at the True Rest in Cedar Park, it's like coming out of the womb. Like so then, going from the Ocean Lab to True Rest Cedar Park, that was the first time I had floated in like an egg-shaped pod.
Yeah.
And the first time I did that, like I remember specifically like opening the doors and feeling like this must be what it feels like to be born again.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a born again, whatever, using that kind of language, but I was like, this is amazing.
I mean, it kind of almost same lines though. Like I've had conversations with people about this. So the last time as a human being, you really were in a place where there was no light. There was some sound, but no gravity in particular, was when you were in the womb. Like once you exited the womb, like gravity's involved.
It's all downhill from there.
And in the float tank, like, you know, that's eliminated.
Yeah.
So they're
that's,
right?
I've never thought about that.
Right. So there's no other time in your life that you are without gravity.
Yeah.
Unless you're an astronaut, but none of us are astronauts. So not many of us are astronauts.
No, but that's interesting. To
right.
think
So
about.
we're recreating something that is impossible to recreate without the conditions that we provide for people.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love reading about like how far that's come. Like when I'm reading about like the original tanks, I'm like, that's a contraption. That's crazy. Go ahead. Sorry. I don't know if you've seen that the clips of the documentary about John C. Lilly.
I've seen the clips. Yeah.
Seems eerie.
It does.
A little eerie, because there's the one that I've seen. He's filming, right? He's, I think, talking about the tank, which the tank looks crazy.
It does. Yeah.
In this video,
it's like a Samadhi tank.
Is that what it's called? Okay. Yeah. And so then John C. Lilly, he's talking and he's saying something along the lines of, I think there's somebody in there. There was somebody. And he like opens it and then the body's just laying in the tank. And it's like, this is so to see how far it's come. And so you used to have to keep yourself afloat. Like there wasn't always salt, right? And so I guess there was like a breathing technique that you would have to do. Like you would breathe all the way in.
Oh,
hold.
I don't know about this breathing thing.
Yes, so this is the floating in quiet darkness is where I learned this.
Okay.
So it used to be like you were like standing up in a pod. You weren't laying back.
Yep.
And in order to float, you had to do a breathing technique. I think they might call it dolphin breathing. I don't know why that's that could be incorrect. But you breathe in, you hold your breath for as long as you can, and then you breathe out and breathe back in very quickly. And that was supposed to keep you afloat. I think there's been like scuba diving masks involved. Like you weren't always like above water.
Interesting.
So yeah, the ways, and then the salt came, I think, when either towards the end of John C. Lilly's life, or I don't know if Glenn and Lee brought that. I don't know who, but salt came later.
Okay.
You used to have to,
Wow.
which doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah.
If I was having
no, it doesn't at all. I floated in Dallas one time, and I don't remember the name of the center either, but it was kind of like just a door in an alley.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yep. But I was on a mission to like kind of every places that I went to find a float center or find a place to float. And so I found this float. I'm not even gonna call it a center, a place to float, sorta. And I was like on the floor and like a
like an underground
like
pool?
a plaque. Yes, it was like a pool that they had covered like with black plastic filled with water. And the light for the room came on and off from a lamp that they controlled from like a light switch from the outside. That's how you knew it was starting and ending. It was very interesting. It was nothing like the spa type feeling or the pods that we have.
Yes.
But I will have to say, like, floating was floating, and I could float. I was in dark. There was no gravity. There was no sound. It was completely dark.
Yeah.
And so I still had the same feeling.
Okay.
Even though I was in, I don't even know what I was in. To be quite
honest. You were in a DIY tank that they saw on Pinterest one day.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. But I was like, I'm going to give it a go. Like, I really want to float, so I'm going to give it a try.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't always been like, I think we tie the word like luxury to the spot. Like it hasn't not always been a luxurious kind of, thing.
But I think we've made it accessible to a whole nother world of people.
Yes.
Like that's how I felt. Like this isn't accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
So I think the way we have things situated and set up for people, like we're making it accessible to more and more and more, people with the goal of True Rest of floating 2 million people in the next like year and a half is the goal.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a hefty goal.
Yeah, one person at a time, you know? Yeah.
100%. I think that, the amount of people who come through our spa and getting to see the variety of things that people deal with.
Yes.
And how universal of a solution floating is. And despite how universal it is, I find that when I talk about it on stage, most people do know about it.
Okay.
Everybody's just scared to try.
Wow.
And so I'll make a sad joke where I'm like, because like I'll start my sets with float therapy sometimes. And most of the audience, even like sometimes it's like 10, 15 people. Sometimes it's, over 100. And like everybody pretty much.
Do you like pull them? Like raise your hand if you floated before?
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, I'll be like, oh, have you guys tried float therapy? And then noise, whatever that is, will come from the audience.
Okay. Yeah.
Some people will raise their hand.
Okay. That would be me. I would raise my hand.
Some people who have done it and love it will shout.
Okay.
Like, so when I went to Dallas to feature for Aaron Belial, I definitely opened most sets with that.
Okay.
And it's funny because, Aaron's a little bent out of shape, right? And so is his audience. And so there's like different varieties of people who've tried float therapy in his audience. And some people shouting that, they love it and they've only done it like 3 times in the last 8 years, but they like it changed their life somehow. And so it's also funny, like it's so personal. Like you could do it once a quarter and it could change your life. Like it doesn't have to be a daily.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll make the joke like, oh, did you almost drown as a kid? Most times that rings true for the audience member when I joke about it. I find that when I talk about it, the audience has just trouble with water. And even recently I've noticed, like, in my tours, this actually happened yesterday or the day before, where they're looking at me like, I don't want to drown, like I can't swim. Yeah. And it's just like, hey, it's just 11 inches. Yeah. You'll be good. You can touch the ground. Yeah. You'll be completely fine.
The salt's got you too. Like it is like, we got anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200, Yeah. Sometimes, between 1,200 and 1,400 pounds of Epsom salt in every pod. Yeah. So
when was the first time? Because I used to be like athletic. My goal right now that I need to get to, and I almost think about it like, I don't want to say like in a HR way, but I need to be able to meet the physical demands of the job, which includes being able to break down a pallet at salt at some point in my float career. Yes, right? Yes. So at what point were you able to have you done a pallet by yourself? Yes. Yeah. Because I've broken down pallets of stuff. Like, I've worked retail for a very long time. And so I know, just like from, let's say, like a dairy, like gallons of milk, similar to the heftiness of a 50-pound bag of salt. Yeah. When could you do that for your first time?
I've always been able to.
You've always been able to?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, yeah.
I put a half a bag in a tank the other day, and I was like...
those 50-pound bags are, kind of hard to manage sometimes. But, yeah, I've always been able to... So it's 50-pound bags that come on a pallet. Okay. Or 40... it's 49. 49, 50-pound bags that come on a pallet. Okay. And so we've ordered... The most we've ever ordered is 2, I think, when we opened. Okay. Because it took an entire pallet just to get the pods up and going. Sure, yeah. And then we've always ordered and then just a pallet at a time to keep the salinity up and what we needed. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't. I don't consider myself athletic. Yeah. But I've as long as I've been floating, I've been CrossFitting. Okay. And so that's been a part of my life, which kind of keeps me able to lift those salt bags. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's been so long since
Take some cardio too, though. It's not just strength. Yes. Like moving them and then moving them again and then moving them into, half a bag in a pod and then moving some into the salt case that we have,
Yeah. And I guess for me, it's not necessarily like, 50 pounds is heavy, but it's like holding that bag in that way and the way it's shaped.
Oh, it's a little definitely awkward.
I'm like, I used to be able to break down pallets of a lot of stuff back in the day. Yeah. And that salt is, so that's a goal that I have.
Yeah, I recently recorded it and then recording me like breaking down an entire pallet of salt, 50 pounds, and then take it into the spa and then into we store them in the room, some of them, and then did sped it up, so that it wasn't all the long, as long as it took me. But
oh my gosh, I've seen that. You and
lift with your legs.
Yeah.
Do not use your back. Yeah.
Do not throw out your back.
Do not throw out your back.
To fill the float pods with salt. Yeah. But then again, you'll have the float pod. You can just hop in there, I guess, if you...
Yep, it's a good thing to do right after you break all that down for sure.
Yeah. So you have children. Have they floated? Are they floaters?
2 of the 4.
2 of the 4, okay.
Yep, have floated. And then the 2 that have floated have also worked at True Rest Cedar Park.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then one worked at another True Rest actually too. But so they have experience as being float consultants, as being floaters. My son, who's the baby of the family, has helped out with things at the spa. Okay. He has some HVAC experience and some, just things that maintenance type things that I've needed. He's come and helped. Yeah. We had to get a pod in the door and when we're opening and through, and he helped with some of that stuff. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 3 of them have been involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was that by choice or was that like a, hey, we need help? Are you guys, did they want to be in the industry?
I think they wanted to, maybe not as like center owners, but they definitely wanted to be involved.
Okay.
Because they knew like how much it meant to me and how excited I was about floating. And definitely the two girls that floated, you know, saw the benefits of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Would you ever, I know there's owners that like own a few. Would you ever try to own multiple?
I know, I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
So kind of how my brain works is that once I've done something and it's gone really well, I'm don't mess it up. But would I love to have another center and kind of spread floating further, you know? Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah.
How that might come about or when or where, I can't like kind of navigate that in my brain.
Yeah.
And then just knowing, you know, for the past 6 years, like everything that it takes, you know, if I'm going to do something, it's going to be like, well, it's going to be exactly how I want to do it. I don't want to, I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I could replicate exactly what, you know, we're doing in Cedar Park, somewhere else, say in Williamson County or maybe not, I'm totally on board. You know, we get lots of requests to go a little further north.
Yeah.
You know, we have the military base in Fort Hood. We have so many members that are coming to us from that Fort Hood, Killeen area. I love that we serve veterans and active military.
Yes.
That's a big part of what we do. So we have had a million requests to start a center like in that area because they're coming to us.
Yeah.
So that's always been an idea or a thought.
Yeah. And then some of the members talk about like, oh, they're ready to open one.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, I think, you know, there's a couple who I think are very serious. I think there's a couple who love it so much and maybe don't know yet what that might entail. But I do hope that, you know, that's something that a couple of them are serious about looking to do.
I think the more float centers we have, it will become more common. So like a goal, I mean, not maybe for myself, but that I would love to see happen in the world is that it's just a household name.
Yes.
You know, like it's common. It's what people talk about. It's people don't give it second thought when they're looking for something to benefit them for whatever it is, better sleep, anxiety, pain, just overall wellness, longevity. Like that float therapy is one of the first things that comes to mind. So the more centers you have, the more common I feel like it'll become. Because I know still in our area, there are so many people that don't know that we're there, that don't know about float therapy, despite, you know, the marketing that we've done.
That's why and I know I've told you this before and I did it the other day. Like if people are out front, like we have little flyers out front of our door. And if I see somebody, I pop out there. And most of the time what I've learned, because I do that often. And they're not startled, but I'm definitely willing to help.
It's okay.
They're always on their way to the movie. Like they've got a show time to be at, so they never have time to talk about it. But just having the interaction of like, hey, we're here to help whenever you're ready to ask questions. And so the other night, it was like a seemingly slow night at the spa, but I just was in deep in phone calls and just a group of people who had to have been in the spa for 3 hours and they needed a lot of attention.
I read all your notes.
Oh gosh, I take very good notes.
She does. Excellent notes. And I love reading them.
It's just like, I don't know what's going on. But one of the reasons was that I had been there for so long, was there was a lady who grabbed a flyer. I popped out. We chatted for just a second, but she was on her way to the movies. And then it was like 9:38, and I had the door. Everybody was gone. I had the doors locked. And she was with her friend outside the door. And so I unlocked the door and I let them. I didn't give them a tour of the float pods because I just had everything torn down, but just kind of gave them a rundown of the float experience. And I think those little interactions, help a lot.
I've definitely done that before too.
Yeah.
Like just getting people in the space, letting people see it, for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Cinemark, like, so, we're right by movie theater. Yeah. One thing I would love, like, just to put it out there in the universe, is that every person I was going to say on the ticket, but I guess people don't have, I haven't been to a movie since like 2019.
Got a ticket anymore. I went to that Cinemark
I was going to say I would love
week.
for on a ticket, like once you have you've gone to the movies and you have a ticket, that ticket is then a float, a free float or a discounted float or some kind of way to get into the space. But then as I was just now thinking about that, people don't really have those tickets anymore.
No, everybody's got a digital QR code. That's their ticket now.
Yes.
Nobody... It's sad. I went to that movie theater for the first time last week to see a movie I didn't even end up watching. The goal, and we've talked about that, like I want to float overnight. I want to fall asleep in the pod. And so I was like, okay, go to the movie, get real tired. And it just, again, same situation before you told me to just like recategorize it as like getting rest.
Yeah.
Side note, my dream is to fall asleep in a float pod, and I just get very anxious before I do that for whatever reason. We're still trying to figure out why. But I was like, let's do that first. And the ticket was just a QR code
on your phone. Well, there's still got to be a way that we can do some kind of connection, even if it's a QR code on your phone. Like, so maybe, I don't know, once you redeem the ticket, you get an automatic like offer or something?
Yeah, well, because now that I'm thinking more on it, that you've said that, sometimes it's like you buy a ticket and then this might not be the exact thing, but you get a free month of Apple Music or something, something pops up to give you a discount to something somewhere. Yeah. So I don't know what the logistics would be to get to that point. But what my thought was, because I have stayed in hotel when I was in Dallas, and so I noticed, like, as I was getting on the elevator, there's like a billboard, and I've been in a couple hotels in the last few months where there's a billboard by the elevator about like local things to do, and like handwritten in chalk, like somebody is like intentionally putting something that is quality on that board. And I would be very interested in seeing if a couple...
That's a great idea.
It's an excellent idea because I've specifically in the last week have had a lot of new floaters come through where they love the experience. They just don't live here. And I don't mean like in surrounding areas, like they just don't live in Austin or in the state.
Right.
But travelers likely have family who live here.
Right.
And so I sold a package to, somebody who they're going to go back to Ireland or wherever they came from. But they had a family member in the area. And so the third float on the package they're going to give to that person.
Yeah, that's great.
So even, if they're because I thought about like, if they're traveling, maybe it's not the best. Like it could be lucrative just to get the foot traffic. But I'm like, no, if they're traveling, the odds of them having family and friends here.
That's so true. Yeah.
I think it's something
I love that
too.
Yeah.
For sure.
We're going to get all these people in, but
we are.
Yeah. All the people walking by, we've got a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
Because of that. Everybody has a different story.
Yes.
know?
For sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for like, I don't know, just embracing me being just new and trying to figure it out.
We love that.
I'm doing what I can. I absolutely love the spa. It's my heart and soul right now. And I hope it continues to be that way.
Yeah.
So to the both,
it's evident for sure when you're in the space.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I know I try too hard, and I stress myself out because of that. But I've never personally cared about something so much ever in my life.
Yeah.
So I really do appreciate it.
Not the intensity of the passion about it, but sometimes I know when I first started, especially like when I started at True Rest, where we had like automation with starting the floats and the music and things like that. I super stressed. I checked it all 1,000 million times because I just didn't want to mess up someone's float. Like, I cannot mess up this person's float.
Yeah.
Because it is going to be, anyways.
Oh my God, that's how I am.
But over time, that part got better.
Okay.
Like that part got better. That the passion, the intensity of how I feel about floating and all the people, coming through hasn't changed at all.
That's awesome.
But the stress that I had about not getting, like, it got better for sure.
Yeah.
For me over time.
I've had to realize that, like, I'm a person who's going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like about resolving that most times before anybody notices.
Yes.
Like, as far as clients are concerned. But then I realize when I make mistakes, the client never notices.
Right.
Like, hardly ever.
Right.
And they always like having the best float of their lives, and I was stressed out for an hour over something that, okay, maybe that was an opportunity and I can fix it in the future.
Yeah.
But did it require that much of my energy to be?
Yes.
And so that's something that's like naturally, I think, who I am, and I'm gonna have to obviously like get better. But I think because I've never cared about something so much. Right. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Yeah. I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, we kind of talked a little bit that everything is fixable.
Yeah.
With the hydrometer.
Broke the hydrometer.
The hydrometer.
And so
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this.
I do want to talk about this because the feeling I have in my gut, right, is the same. I could vomit over this. So a hydrometer measures the salinity or salinity of the water in the float pod, how much salt there is, how buoyant it is, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is a very delicate glass little item, right? And I knew from week 1 that one day I was going to break it. And so on this particular day, I changed the way that I held the hydrometer. I hardly ever bring the case of it with me. I hold it in a washcloth and I hold on for dear life.
Yes.
This particular day, I just felt, this is the crazy part, I felt the need to be extra careful with it.
Okay.
And I brought the yellow case with me.
Okay.
And then I pull it out, and it just slightly taps the fiberglass of the float pod.
Yes.
And it all crumbles into the water.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to vomit. And immediately I just start bawling. I'm like, I ruined. And it was a Sunday.
I know. I remember the day you called me crying. And I was like, no, what has happened?
That's also the bad part. If I send a text first, it's probably worse. I can't remember what I said.
You said something really bad has happened, and I was like, "Oh no! Like, what could this? What could this be?"
And I remember being on the phone like, it's really bad.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. You're like, "It's really, really bad." I was like, "Can you just tell me what happened?"
My gosh! I still feel oh my God, I could vomit over it. But watching the whole thing just crumble.
That was fixable. We got it. We got it all figured out.
But just an inch to the left, it couldn't have, because I can clean glass up on the ground. Like, how am I? And so when that happened, the vision that I had, that I was 100% sure of, even though this had never happened, was we're going to have to empty all of the water out. Yeah. Nobody's going to be able to float in this pod at all today. Yeah. It was that feeling of, I just ruined everybody's float who was scheduled to be in here. Yeah. And so
an intense feeling.
Yeah. And still like, oh my God, I don't think
water vacuums can fix a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And poor Steven, our friend who works at the spa, he was just in the back, just shard by shard.
We got it
out of the tank, and we got it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I could never. But the crazy thing is, I had this feeling that morning of just be extra careful.
Yeah.
Just be extra careful.
Yeah.
And then it couldn't have been more than a half hour later.
It was early when you called me.
Yeah.
You texted me. I was like, oh no.
I didn't even have the words. I was just like, this is a night. Like, my worst nightmare has come true. And I knew the day would come where I would break it. And so I was prepared for that.
Yeah.
I was not prepared to break a hydrometer inside of a pod
Yeah.
on a Sunday.
It happens. I think we've bought, it's either 9 or 10 now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
6 years. I some people I think probably have the same one for their entire spa
Yeah.
open, time period, but it happens.
Yeah. And then
now I know we have an extra too. Like we had a backup. I didn't realize we had the
have a
backup.
backup. So yeah, I didn't realize that either because the way it's packaged, it just didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
when I was talking to Steven about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, we've broken one inside of the," and I'm like, "Inside?" And then I started to feel a little bit better, but got like just the odds of all of that happen inside the pod on the busiest day of the week. I was just like, I just need to leave. I just need to quit.
I was like, please don't.
I'm just gonna quit floating.
Please don't leave. Everything we can fix this. I promise
this is
you.
crazy.
Yeah.
Couldn't have just been 2 inches to the left that I had done that, but yeah, you live and you learn, but definitely intense.
Yeah.
How I felt about that.
Yep.
I'm just like, I can't, and it was a day that like, I don't know, we had like at least like one pod down like every week for like a month. And so we had all of our rooms up and running.
I do remember that too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, oh my God, I'd probably cry the next time that happened if it's inside of the pod.
Yeah.
Otherwise glass is fine to clean up, but yeah, that was
We made
not
it though.
good.
We made it.
We did make it. Well, very exciting stuff. Yeah, definitely a pleasure to get to learn from you and Tanner and just be a part of the space. I'm definitely every day that goes by, I'm just like more obsessed with the space and just doing the best we can. And excited, Pat, to have you on board. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I'm excited to have you in the space, and especially just to get your first float under your belt, especially for your wife too, and also to have you shooting content in the space.
I'm super excited about that.
It's a perfect arrangement for sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah, and this isn't like so a lot of the podcasts that are filmed out of this studio there's nothing like this happening in this studio. The rest of it is who knows what's going on in this studio. Yeah.
Gross talk.
But this is a project that is gonna save the world, and so you are on board for something a lot bigger than generally what might come out of this room.
Absolutely.
So
for sure.
Yeah, definitely a pleasure to have you on board.
I have chills. It's exciting.
Yes, I'm so, like, when we were talking right before you walked in, I was like, oh my God, because we have a date planned, and I'm like, my friend Robert, who I asked, gave away all his camera equipment. And so he's still going to help, like, maybe with ideas, but I was like, I just need somebody with equipment.
Yeah.
And is acceptable to float them for free. Like, that's what I have to offer. Who's taking it? So yeah, pleasure to have you on board. Pleasure to be in the spa and have you as a mentor. I didn't know what to expect when I came on board, and I got way more than I ever imagined. It's overwhelming sometimes how much you guys love and care about me.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Someone did that for me.
Yeah.
When I started, I had my four coworkers that just took me in, taught me everything.
Yeah.
And, started as a float consultant. So did Tanner. We both started and here we are, owning, one of the most successful float centers, in our area.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Very excited.
Yeah. True Rest Cedar Park, it's the place to be. Definitely my favorite place to float. And I don't just say that because I work there.
Yeah.
Which is, I do not just say that because I work there.
Yeah.
Like, it is the place to be in Central Texas.
Yeah.
If you're going to get the most high quality experience, especially with those egg-shaped pods. Oh my God.
So we've got the traditional pod, which is
have
the
the
egg-shaped
traditional.
pod. Then we also have the round pods.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I wasn't.
I think you were calling the round pods the egg-shaped pods.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it's fine. So the traditional pod is the Royal Spa pod, which is that egg shape that I think a lot of people think about it.
Okay.
And then the circular pods are, a true like 360.
Yeah.
And they're specifically manufactured for true rest.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got that surround sound, which is a big part of what's different about those round pods. And you can tell the difference between the traditional pod that we have at the spa and the round pods, just in the like the speaker sound system. But yeah, those round pods where the doors slide, open and close instead of like up and down, like were specifically for true rest locations. Yeah, and I love them. I like both. I know I started my float journey in an egg-shaped pod, and so I have a little bit of like draw or affinity to just that enclosure. Yeah. But I have fantastic, floats in all the different types of things that you can be enclosed in.
Okay.
I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, now that you've said that, because I started in that Royal style pod, and I think my issue with it was I just had issues with condensation in it. And now I understand better about how to mitigate. Not mitigate, but like the environment that's needed to make sure that doesn't happen, making sure the temperature of the hallways, all those little things.
The dehumidifier.
Yeah, dehumidifier. And so like literally it just dawned on me in this moment, like I have not floated in that style of a pod since I've worked there. Yeah. And now I'm realizing, I was just getting a droplet on my eye every couple
in the
of
traditional
minutes.
pod.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, no, a pleasure to be in the space. Pleasure to have you, work with you, and thank you for being on the podcast and being willing to share your story.
Having me.
We've got a huge future ahead. I can feel it.
Yeah. Thank you for being a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to wrap it up there.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching episode 2 of the Post Float Clarity podcast. I messed it up. See, I knew I was going to mess it up. PFC is what like literally everybody, I like Post Float Clarity. The first thing I thought of was PFC. It was the first thing Robert said. It was the first thing you said. PFC.
Yeah, I love it.
PF Chang's. We should get a sponsor by PF Chang's. Post Float Clarity number 3. We're going to be eating PF Chang's. Thank you guys for joining. We're going to, right now, it's just going to be on YouTube, and then we'll see where that goes and expand from there. But thank you for supporting, and we will see you next time.